Hello everyone, welcome once again. We are in the improve phase. We are designing and building solutions. We have discussed some solution generation techniques in the previous sessions. We also saw how do we prioritize the solutions using the urgent and the important metrics. Now we have solutions with us, a list of solutions that we shall deploy and implement. But no, we don't directly deploy the solutions. We take a pause. Before we do a full-scale implementation of solutions, we take a pause. We first see, is there any risk while we're deploying a solutions, or the process, or if we have developed a new process, what could be a potential risk in that process. So we need to do some sort of risk assessment before we go for a full-scale implementation of the solutions here. So here we try to assess the risk in the process. So if you can see on my screen, let's talk about some level of risk assessment before we deploy the solutions that we have put together. What is risk in a process? Risk can be classified or defined as a likelihood of occurrence of an undesirable event, something that we have not thought of, combined to the magnitude of its impact. Event, how big is the event, when it is occurring, and all that thing, that's the entire risk we are talking. We have no idea about what risk will happen, when will it happen, and where will it happen. That's the risk. So and then what is risk assessment here? A risk assessment is a determination of quantitative and qualitative values of risk. Quantitative may be a risk priority number, or maybe risk number, or the magnitude we are assessing. Qualitative is in terms of business, what impact can be seen on the business. So that's a kind of risk which is related to a concrete situation and a recognized threat, also called a hazard here. So what does a risk analysis include, which we are doing as part of the improve phase? Risk analysis will include identification of risk, estimation of their likelihood of occurrence, estimation of their causes and the magnitude and of their potential impact. Risk evaluation and development of risk mitigation plan. So here we introduce an analysis which is called failure mode and effect analysis. In short, it's called FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. It's a structured method to identify failure modes, determine the severity of the failure, causes of the failure, frequency of the failure, current controls in place, and efficiency of the controls. This enables us to evaluate current risk in the process and thereafter developing action plans to mitigate risk. So we understand what are the failure modes in a process, what is the impact of this failure mode onto the business, and how severe is that failure mode, and how often do they happen in a process. And then we talk about what is the root cause of those failure modes, what is the current mechanism that will tell you if these failure mode happen. You will get to know, do you have mechanism. And then we talk about some mitigation plan for those failure modes. So that's the failure mode and effect analysis. We'll go through a detailed example of how to do a failure mode and effect analysis, but let's try to understand the working behind the failure modes and the effect analysis. So if you look at this slide, talks about what is the FMEA. The FMEA is a structured approach. It identifies the ways in which a product or process can fail. It estimates the risk associated with specific causes. It prioritizes the actions that should be taken to reduce risk. It evaluates the design validation plan or current the control plan, or control the current plan. So if we move to the next slide, we'll talk about why do we need FMEA. Basically, why are we looking at a risk assessment? Why do we need to assess the risk attached to a process or a product or the design? First of all, it facilitates the process improvement. Obviously, if we know the risk, maybe we can better predict about a likelihood of an event. It identifies, it eliminates the concerns early in the development of a process or a design. That is also important. If you are launching a new product, if you know what could be potential issues that might come up, maybe you can design a better product. It improves internal and external customer satisfaction. So if customer will face less bugs or errors in the product or the process that you have, you will have a better customer satisfaction. Focuses on prevention. Before an error should happen, if you get to know before it, so that means prevention will be better. FMEA may be a customer requirement. Sometimes customer wants a product that can prevent an error to happen, or that can warn the customer if something is going to happen, so they would definitely like it. So they want such system to be inbuilt as part of the part of the product or a service which they are requesting. And FMEA may be required by an applicable quality standard. So sometimes it is the standards body, they want an risk assessment already as part of the product that you are delivering. So that may be compliance or a law related requirement also. Now the question that comes in to some example of why do we need FMEA. In 2014, a very famous e-commerce company called Flipkart, they launched their initiative, the first sale, online sale by Flipkart, which they launched, called as a Big Billion Day. Now, Amazon and Flipkart are the two large e-commerce e-tailer in Indian industry. Funny part was Flipkart launched Big Billion Day. Amazon created a website called Big Billion Day. So if you type Big Billion Day in Google, it will take you to Amazon's website directly. That's how they targeted their website, using the Big Billion Day as a keyword. And Flipkart as a company, they were not really prepared for such a big initiative. They did not expect the kind of traffic that may come on the Flipkart website. So their website started crashing on that day. Payments were not going through. Most of the product that people were looking for, that was out of stock. Sometimes they were able to find the product, by the time they added it was going out of stock. When they were able to find it, add it in the cart, payment was not happening because the payment gateway was too busy with millions of people buying at the same time. So they did not anticipate any of that. The website became too slow, it started hanging in between, and they started crashing also. People were frustrated, and those who had ordered, they did not get it on time. So multiple issues Flipkart faced that day. What went wrong? Flipkart did not anticipate a lot of things during that day. They did not anticipate the kind of volume they saw during that day. So what did they not do? They did not do a detailed risk assessment of this new initiative which they had launched. This is where they failed. So whenever you are developing a new product or you are developing a new process, a lot of things can go wrong. It is always better to anticipate and plan for the future before we go for it. So the actual event may not happen, but if it happens, you will be ready for it. A common example of this is the insurance industry. Every year we pay premium for healthcare, for a healthcare insurance. Every year we pay premium for our lifetime insurance. The lifetime insurance, the way it works, when someone dies or during an accident they become disabled, then only they get the amount. Unless someone dies, nobody gets the amount, but they are paying premium every year. Premium is a small amount, but the overall cover which they get as part of the insurance term is a very big amount. Why should I pay premium if nothing is happening to me right now? The premium is nothing but is an example of risk prevention. If something happens to someone, that insurance amount will take care of their family. Same thing for healthcare. Healthcare amount, the premium we pay is very negligible if you compare it to the overall cover that the medical companies provide. When during the corona time, a lot of people had to sell their houses, they took personal loan and so on. So this is a risk prevention strategy, the insurance. That's what FMEA tells us. We need to be ready for something that happens. It is good that nothing happens, but if that happens, are you ready? If the house catches fires, are we ready with the fire extinguishers? Will we know ever if the house catches fire? And if the house catches fire, what kind of damage can we expect? Have we anticipated anything? That's why you have the water sprinklers, fire alarm in the houses. They are not there because the building will catch fire. They are there just to prevent if something happens in the building. So that is nothing but that water sprinkler and that the smoke alarm is a part of the FMEA, because the building management has done an FMEA and they have estimated if something happens in the building, what should be their response plan. So FMEA talks about how to prevent a problem, an error that can happen in the process, and are we ready for it. We need to know what kind of possible issues that a process can process can face, what kind of failure modes can happen in a process, and we have to assess the impact on the overall process as well. So that is one part of the FMEA. We'll continue the FMEA in the next session from here. Thank you for watching. This is Shivendra Sharma.